What is up, everybody? It is DJ Martini Midwest Reviews coming at you for another video for my channel today. I have a really good one. We're talking about the Rane One in 2025 and why I still think it's a great controller. Great for mobile DJs, great for scratch DJs, and great for a novice DJ actually. And I'll tell you why here in just a little bit. So stay for the whole video. I'm going to show you a little hookup, a little connection, the features, what it's got. Not a totally in-depth review because there's a lot of reviews. This is an older controller, but give you my pros and cons and my little tips and tricks on why I still like this controller in 2025. So thank you for tuning in. It's DJ Martini Midwest Reviews. If you've never tuned in, just know I love to do reviews. That's what I'm here to do. And I want to do that research for you, give it to you as easy as possible, and then leave some links in case you're interested in looking up some of these items. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Let's continue to grow this community, the Martini Nation. This is what I love to do, guys. So thank you guys so much for giving me the opportunity to do it. And like I said, I'm just here to help. Got any questions, comments, leave them in the comments. And let's get in the video. So I'm going to just go into a warning. I'm going to go into a little rant here. About chasing controllers, guys. There's a lot of new controllers out there and they're always coming up. Like I just can't compete. I can't keep up with all these new controllers. And they do have a new Performer coming out from Rane One. It's been out for a little while. They have the Rane Four now, so they got all kinds of new controllers. But like I said, if that doesn't fit what you need, there's no reason to chase it and go get it. Like you just don't need to have the most coolest brand new controllers out there. It just doesn't make any sense if it doesn't help you do anything to DJ. So I hope that kind of resonates with somebody. Let me know what you guys think on chasing controllers and things like that. But that's why I'm kind of bringing this Rane One here in 2025, because I still think it's a great controller. It still sells for $1,000. It's still kind of expensive, even used, but I'm going to hold on to it because there's no reason that I need it because I'm really comfortable with it. And that's the most important thing, guys. If you get comfortable with a controller, especially for gigging, now you can get a new controller and practice on it at home and do things. But once you're really solidly connected with that controller and you know everything ins and outs about it, that is awesome. And that makes you a more proficient DJ. And you can lay things down really, really well. I was like that with the Hercules 500 Impulse. Really loved that controller. And it was like a fraction of the cost of this guy. It's still around like $300 some. And this is about $1,000, like I said. So I gigged it a lot. And I had a lot of fun with it, and I knew it very well. And I really didn't want to get rid of it. But I ended up doing it just to upgrade for the channel a little bit, and then upgrade to this Rane One, which has really, really worked out well for me. So I still gonna get into some pros and cons, but that was just my little rant on chasing controllers, guys. Pick up what's best for you, hold on to it, learn it well, and hold on to it as long as you can until you need to upgrade for a reason. Like maybe you're getting into stems now, or you're getting into things like that, and this controller doesn't have a lot of stems control, so maybe you want some of that stems control. But if you're not using stems, then like I said, hold on to this bad boy, and we're gonna get into it. So just my little rant. Let's go ahead and jump into the video now on the Rane One, starting right now. I am going to take you down so you can get a good look at this. I'm going to show you a little hookup and show you, like this is a little mini gig setup right now. I got the portable thump here, Rane One. I got extra player right here, and I have my laptop, my DJ laptop as well. So could definitely, do a little party gig right now with what I have here, and it's pretty portable. So let's go ahead and bring you in close, take a look at the Rane One, why I like it, little tips and stuff, and then I'll show you a little connection as well. All right, guys, so we have the Rane One right here in front of us, and we can definitely take a look at it. Really, really cool controller. Like I said, it does run about $1,150 on Amazon. You can find it a little bit cheaper used on eBay. But definitely a cool controller. Get my notes here. But let's just go over the deck, which is the same carbon copy on this side, so we can kind of just focus on this side, but it's same on this side. But up here, you do have your load, which I love. I always love it when a controller has, you can, search and load your tracks here with just a click. You got a load prep button. You have your shift button down here. You have your sync, cue, start stop on the platters and your song. You got your pads here, and you do have hot cue, saved loops, roll, sampler, and slicer all in there. Tempo right here. You have a sensor and reverse button, which is kind of cool. Flip, motor off, slip. You do have a search bar, which is cool. Kind of old school nowadays, but still cool. I still do like the search bar, so you can go through the tracks really quick, which we'll show you a little bit later. You do have your loops on and off for manual finding loops, parameter, range, pitch bends. You have your up faders, crossfader, cue for headphones. You have your FX locks right here. This is FX modes, but that is software. There's no internal FX in this controller. You do have a high filter, low filter, low, mid, high, 3-band EQ, and your deck gain or level. And you also have to choose your line if depending on the backside where you're, what if you wanted to use like 2 laptops, you could, and you could switch in between which USB you're going into. So pretty basic on the top of it. Like I said, very basic. And we can go to the front of it here, and you do have 2 mic and an auxiliary, which is, I do love this auxiliary. You can see it's already in an auxiliary because I use it as an auxiliary all the time. 1 mic, use my auxiliary channel. It does have the deck contour. Usually have those off, but you can see how it fades. The crossfader contour, deck contour, slow or fast. Scoot this over a little bit. But it does have your 3.5 and quarter jack for your headphones, headphone cue, headphone mix, and then of course that crossfader cueing as well. On the bottom, just metal construction. It is a beast, and I do love that it's got that metal construction, really well built. Is a little bit heavy in my opinion. I'm going to go ahead and roll this the other way here. Plug my headphones. I tilt this a little bit here. Does have great inputs here, guys. We have mics, we have that auxiliary RCA in, and that can go, and you have line or phono, so you can hook up turntables, and it will work as a mixer on its own. So that's pretty cool. I like that about it. DVS support as well. Main inputs RCA, or you do have those professional inputs of the XLR. USB, like I said, you can do 2, so you could do like 2 laptops. The motor torque, you got high and low buttons on the back here, but great inputs. Yeah. All right, guys, so I'm going to show you guys a little bit of a hookup, just a brief thing on some hookup, and then show you a little bit of things that I like about this controller. Like I said, not really too in depth, but also just want to point out that this does work with, it's a Serato controller, so it works with Serato DJ Pro and opens up Serato DJ Pro for you to be able to use it when you connect to it. But I use it with Virtual DJ. It also works with DJ AI Pro, so you can use it with that. It is a standalone mixer, so you can use it as a hooked up to some vinyl, some records. Does it have DVS as well, so you can use it with digital vinyl. So it has a lot of features that can help you DJ, especially if you're a mobile DJ. Also has that auxiliary channel, like I always point out, which is fantastic, and I'll show you guys how to tap into that as well. So a lot of cool features with the Rane One, and that's why I still think, I'm super comfortable with it, and I like it, so that's why I like to keep it. Be comfortable with your equipment, and you can perform better. All right, so let's go ahead and hook it up. So I do have my portable thumb here, but let's go ahead and start. So I would usually plug in my headphones since it's in the front here, so I got that plugged into the 3.5mm jack right in the front. And then we go ahead, I'll plug in my speakers here, and we can just go into the main output right here on the front. So I just can go into left or right and plug that in, so we have a speaker hooked up. Then I'm going to go ahead and hook up my laptop. I got my chroma cables here. It is hooked up into a USB port in my laptop. And I usually, this is totally up to you, but for some reason I always use the B port on this, just the way I set it up. And then make sure that your lines are set. So you have an A line and a B line. If you're using B, use B, both of them. If you're using A, use A on both of them. Also, I love the auxiliary channel, like I always say, so I do always have my tablet with me, and I do have a adapter for USB type C to 3.5, and then I have RCAs hooked up to this, and so I can go right into that auxiliary port, which is your mic 2 basically, and match those cables up. I have a microphone here, so I'm going to go that quarter jack into the quarter jack mic, which would be mic 1 on this one. And everything's hooked up there, so we could go ahead and fire this up. Now I have headphones, microphone, an extra channel, so if my laptop were to crash, which I have had happen one time, and I could still play music, nobody would even know the difference because I wouldn't panic. But luckily I was in transition already, like I was playing music and my laptop crashed, and so then I just kind of transitioned right into the tablet right away. It's a little bit harder with this, so it's a little bit different with this because it's not like mixer style, so you actually have to mess with the volume gains in the front. So you have a, you go to your mic 2 auxiliary channel, set that to auxiliary, there's a little switch, and then you would also hit the levels, and you would also hit the levels on your tablet to make sure that the volume levels are good there. So I always set it to almost full volume, but a click or two down. And then we'll check the volumes on here, the level, and then it also has low and high, and I always just set those in the middle to make them nice and flat. If you need to add more, you can go ahead and add that to your needs. But I have the volume at 5 right now. And so let's go see what this is working. And then I would just need to adjust on my speaker as well. Now it would take a little bit of adjustment on the volume, but other than that you'd be good to go. And like I said, then you can restart your laptop and all that good stuff. So once I hooked into, and like I said, I use Virtual DJ, it's asking me if I want to use the Rane One audio, and I do, so I'm gonna hit OK. And now I have Virtual DJ in here. And let's go ahead. I'll use my browser knob on the controller, which is cool. I'm gonna load something into that. And like I said, very responsive controller. I can hit play. Now I'm using my controller. And this will override whatever you're listening to in your auxiliary channel. So if you are listening to something that, it will play over it, so you can turn the volumes down on that and make sure you're good to go for your main controller. You see it's very responsive. The controller feels nice. Like everything, what I like about this controller is that it's very easy to learn on. Like there's not a lot of buttons that do things that's like crazy to you, or like I don't get it. So everything is pretty much, what it is. So you got your load prep button, like I said, my menu, and then you click down on it to select a song. You have your shift, which will control also your slip and your motor off. So if you hit shift, and then it's going to turn the motor off, or you have a slip mode. Your sensor mode is the main button, but then you hit your shift, and then you have reverse, so it'll reverse the record. We can show that real quick. So now I'm reversing, and then make sure you hit that again to turn it the other way. But yeah, so it's not super hard. You have range and key lock, you have hot cues saved, you have your samplers, you can go to samples that you have on your controller, you can set that up any way you want, slicer, an automatic loop, in and out, which is really cool, pitch bends, your tempo faders, nice long accurate tempo fader on there, up faders. You do have FX, but that is controlled through, there's no built-in FX in this, and so that is run through your software. So whatever software you're using, you need to set that up. But you have your cue for your headphones. All the headphones things are run through the front, and so you'd have to adjust volumes for that. You also have, you know, your crossfader contour. Now I will say I run it kind of just like I am here, and I have the controller a little bit more towards the end of the table because I usually run like a screen in front with my logo. And sometimes I've bumped this knob, which is very, very like loose, so you can just like tap it and you could probably move it forward. And that's one of my little negatives on this, is that I have bumped it and then I lost my crossfader contour. And so it was really like, I like a nice fade, and it was really sharp, and I was like, whoops, so it kind of messed me up a little bit. But yes, I have bumped that, but you can, I always indent it into the table a little bit so I don't bump it now, but I did learn from that. But yes, some of the knobs are very, they feel good, but they're like, if you tap them, you can move them a little bit. So just something to keep on, one of my little negatives. But really, other than that, guys, you have high, low, you have a 3-band EQ, you have your volumes, and then you have the same thing on the other deck. So this thing's just really easy to use. So if like you want to learn, like I think this is a good learning. This is a good step towards learning. So it could be used for anybody. It could be used for a professional DJ. It could be used for an intermediate DJ, and it could be used for that beginner DJ that's just getting started. If you could afford this, yes, absolutely jump right into this, and you're going to be using it for many, many, many years. Okay, you can hold on to it, and it's just going to get something that you're going to get super comfortable with. And we're talking about the Rane One, and we talk about pros and cons with the Rane One. Now, a lot of pros, everything I've talked about the controller so far, but the things that stick out to me is definitely that auxiliary channel. You guys knew I was going to bring that up. I love that it has that backup system in a 2-channel controller like this. I love the 2-channel controller layout. You know, it's easy to use, it's easy to figure out, which is another plus. I just think this controller is just really to use, really easy to use for anybody, no matter if you're intermediate, professional, or beginner. If you're a beginner, yes, I would definitely recommend this. I would also recommend the Hercules Impulse 500. Great controller, has an auxiliary channel as well, 2-channel configuration. But if you could afford something like this, the Rane One at $1,000, $1,200, definitely get one of these. It's going to last you a long time, and it's going to teach you multiple things. You can also learn how to scratch on this. You can normal DJ on it. You can do whatever you want. It's just a great piece of kit, piece of tool for you to use for whatever kind of DJ you're doing. Mobile DJ, scratch DJ, whatever, it's got you covered. Pretty cool. Full DVS control, standalone mixer, and replaceable crossfader. So if you scratch and you messed up your crossfader, you can definitely replace it. All positives in my book. Also, finding this used now for around $900 is a great thing. Maybe eBay, Amazon still has it for about $1,100. So you can definitely still find this, and it's a great product. I just love the Rane One. That's why I had to bring it back for 2025. Now, some of the cons, I do have a few, not many, but one is the weight. This thing weighs 25 pounds. It's like 2 bricks in your bag when you're carrying this. So if you drop this, the force of 25 pounds hitting the floor is going to damage something. So you got to be very careful with it because it's super heavy. It's a little bit heavy for mobile stuff, you know. Yeah, so that can be a negative, but I do take it. I do mobile gig with it, and I take it a lot, but it's heavy. I'll just point that out. I do have a nice bag for it. I have this bag from Rockville right here, and it's very nice, very padded, has like some seat belts in there for it, so you can really strap it down. Really like this bag, and the Rane One fits in it perfectly. So I will definitely leave a link for that bag in the description if you want to check that out. Another thing is the front bump. So it's got all these controllers or knobs on the front, and they're very sensitive. Like you touch them and they'll move. If you had this on the end of the table and you like bump them, you can move them, you can adjust them. The cord from your headphones, if you're kind of moving around and it wraps around or hits one, it can adjust. Like I've seen it happen, I've done it myself. It can adjust those knobs. So they're kind of sensitive, so you have to be careful and push this controller in just a little bit so they're not at the edge of the table where you can bump them, because I've messed up my crossfader contour and instead of a nice fade like I like, it was a sharp cutoff, and that can mess you up when you're mixing if you're not used to it. So I will say that everything on this controller is pretty sensitive. Like, you don't have to, if you like bump it, touch it, it's pretty sensitive. So like I said, I could just, I have the sampler section on here. Let's see what comes on, but I could just kind of wave my hands on this, and I might like, oh, so far so good. With pressure, you can hit something. So so I've done that too, where I've actually just set my book on it and it's set off a button. It's not doing it right now. That's the luck of filming, and it's not going to do it when you need it to, but I've set something like that on it, and it is sensitive, which is my fault. I shouldn't have done it, but it can be a little sensitive, so definitely something just to think about. It could be a negative. So, but honestly, other than that, that's all I got. Everything else is really positive on this controller. I really like how this controller works. It can be for a beginner, intermediate, or professional DJ. It has professional hookups, has the professional things that you need. Motorized platter for a scratch DJ, can also work for a mobile DJ. Extra channel, well, work as a standalone mixer, works as DVS, works with Serato, works with DJ Algorithm AI Pro, works with Virtual DJ. So it opens Serato as well. If you plug it into Serato, it's going to give you a version of Serato that you can use. So a lot of things going for this controller, and I think that's why it's still good in 2025. No matter if you buy it new, which would probably be preferred, but you could still get it for around $1,200 new, but you can buy it used for around maybe $800 to $900 on eBay. So, you know, definitely a lot of options for you to check out. All right, I've talked about this, but a lot of people are still going to be chasing those controllers, and maybe they want the Rane 4 or the Rane Performer. Well, what's the big differences? Well, I will say that you get 4 channels, of course. It's a bigger, you're still going to get those auxiliary channels, but you're still going to have the DVS. You're still going to have the standalone mixer. You're going to have stems integration. You're going to have built-in FX integration on the Rane 4. You're going to have bigger platters. They're 8.5, I believe, and they do have a little screen in the middle with just a little bit of data, but not crazy. If you're familiar with some of the Pioneer controllers that have the little round screens in them. And I think that's about it on the Rane 4, but not motorized platters on the Rane 4. They do have a motorized version, which is the Rane Performer, which has motorized platters. It also has a 3.5-inch screen in the middle. I'm not getting all the details out there, but I'm getting some of the big ones. But the Rane Performer is around $2,000, but it does have those screens in it, and that's why they call it for the Performer, because you don't really need to look at your laptop as much because it has those 3.5-inch screens. It's going to give you a lot of information in those screens for you to kind of not look at the laptop a little bit. It does have motorized platters, and it does have the stems and all the other integration that I was telling you that came with the Rane 4. Just a little bit of upgrade, but it will cost you $2,000. And the, you know, Rane 4 is about $1,600, $1,500, $1,600, which is where the Rane 1 was at one time. So now the Rane 1, like I said, is about $1,200. But like I said, it's a great value in 2025, just because, like I said, anybody can use it. Really easy to learn on, really easy to use. Other than that, guys, that's all I got for you. Let me know in the comments, you know, if I'm blowing smoke, if tell me what you guys think about chasing controllers. Tell me what you think about the Rane 1 or upgrading to the Rane 4. Maybe you want those stems. Maybe you guys do stuff like that. Or tell me if the Rane 1 is still a great performer for you guys. Let me know. I'd really like to know on my feedback where you guys are at on this. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. It's been DJ Martini Midwest Reviews. I'll leave all the links for everything I used today in the description. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. Join the Martini Nation, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. And we'll see you really soon on my next video or tutorial. Catch you guys later.